Welcome to Awesome Day of FM Training. I'm Richard Carlton at FM. What am I? FMtrain.tv today. Cool. This is the website right here, FMtrain.tv. You scroll down here, you can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. Today is MonkeyBread 14.4 release. Cool. All right. So I'm going to quit sharing my screen here. I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to welcome Christian Schmitz. And so someone promptly asked me, hey, there's this thing that says Sequoia. Should I press the button and update my computer? And I'm like, well,
No.
If you fundamentally don't know enough to stop yourself when a brand new major release comes out, then just please press the update button. But for those of us who don't want to get yelled at by the people we work for, which includes me, thank you very much, we don't install it immediately, right? So is there any specific known issues, Christian? Or is it just...
Yes. Well, the first thing is a few iPad Pros didn't boot up after installing.
Oh, they bricked.
And a few people complain about FileMaker Go having problems with refreshing. And I saw someone complaining about the window menu crashing FileMaker on Sequoia. I would recommend anyone. I mean, Apple just released the software. They had to meet the deadline, So they will probably
sounds like a Microsoft thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they will probably make a .1, .2 release, and most people will not see the update until, .1, .2, .3. So I just say wait, and Claris is working on updates.
Yeah.
In general, for me, it's like Apple releases an update, and even if it's a .1 update, I wait a few days to see. If you see all over the news, some people complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then before I install the update, I take a backup first, Don't forget your backup. And if you like to play with the new features, just take a private device, a spare device. Just don't take your production
computer. Yeah, don't. Yeah, I had to explain this to one of my IT guys back before Jacob Taylor, and I said, you realize if you run an update and then you can't, and the update doesn't work, and then you want to work for a customer, but you can't actually do billable work for them, you're not going to get paid. And he looked at me. It was like a foreign concept, and he's like, oh. Right? It was literally like that, right? He'd never had the thought that if he didn't actually work for the customer, he couldn't bill the customer. And I'm like, dude. So yes, welcome to the world of responsibility and not putting yourself into a corner. What are we doing today? So first off, I want to file a complaint. There's a new version of your MonkeyBread plugin. That means I have to update my... Margaret's laughing.
I make a lot of updates over the year. You don't need to install everyone.
How often should I update MonkeyBread?
I don't know. How often do you develop new versions of your software? Because usually if you start a new version of your software, like you ship version 1 and you're working on version 2, then on the beginning of your development, you update the plugin. So you have the latest plugin, and then until you ship your next version, you have a lot of time to develop your new functionality and check if the plugin works perfectly for you.
That's not a bad idea. Because people are going to ask the questions like, because you have like 7,385 features this thing does, whatever that number is. And it's amazing. It's great. But if we had to update every dot release, and we'd spend one day a week updating MonkeyBread. Why don't you go and show your screen and walk us through what is the newest MonkeySpread?
So we got a new version of the MBS plugin a few days ago. It got a couple of new functions. Let's say the first one here is we have JSON-based insert, update, and delete functions. That's something people ask for because they use web services. They get JSON data, and they want to just throw it into records or update records.
Margaret, it's a JSON array, and they take the data. And so is the command... Okay, there it is right there. So JSON.insert record, contacts. Yeah, so you format. Okay, it looks like... Okay, back up. Margaret, it looks like when it's on one line like that, but if you actually had it like made pretty, it would be that kind of indented prettiness, right, Margaret?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I got a sample project included with the plugins. So let's see.
Of course, there's always a sample. Show us the
insert and update.
There we go.
So first thing, colorize. There's something you should put everywhere you have JSON, and that is a little auto enter calculation. There's a custom function, CF format JSON. So if you have a field with some JSON, where's my close button here?
What was CF for? That's not you. What's CF?
Custom function.
Oh, custom. Yeah,
so I go to custom functions to find it. Yeah, there is it. So this is a little helper function to format JSON. So it does a format function. And if the format function is successful, we will use the formatted JSON. And then we will apply colors to it. So if you have a custom function or, auto enter calculation like this, your JSON will look pretty. You can just make edits here, like I can move that down, I can mess it up, and then click away, and it gets formatted.
He just jams this stuff. It comes over, and whoever gets it, if it comes in, I guess you could submit this. Well, it could come through the REST API, a DAPI or something. You could do all. I mean, you could use this a bunch of different ways.
I just delete the test record here and go back. So let's say you have a JSON like this, and you insert it, and well, the plugin makes.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to figure out what the use case. So someone had a service that was sending. So someone is getting this data in JSON, and instead of them formatting it like what we did in the BVA thing, Margaret, they just want to take this block and dump it into the MBS plugin. MBS, and the MBS plugin goes, oh, here's a new edited whatever record in FileMaker, right? FileMaker. There we go. So that the idea, kind of, Christian? Do I have that?
Yeah, that's the idea. Under the hood, we make a SQL statement, which you actually can see if you ask the plugin. Let's see, watch MBS FM execute SQL, and here's last SQL. So this is a SQL statement it built automatically for you. So we see the table name, and we see the field names and placeholders for the variables. The plugin is clever enough to see that the birthday field is a date. So it will convert this string automatically to a date. Then we can update a record. We need to pass in some fields to identify the record, some fields with new values. And we can even make insert or update. So the plugin will check if a record exists already. If it finds one, it will do the update. If not, it will do the insert. And if the insert fails because there is a unique constraint, it will also try an update.
Oh, okay.
So we got here a second record. Let's just change the value. And yeah, it updated.
Okay, so then if that record were locked and you're doing an update, it would give you an error back to the plugin. What if the plugin would get an error of 101 or record is busy, unavailable?
So then we would return error.
Okay, yeah.
So there is actually possible that it fails, and you can delete something. Yeah, I know you may have other ways to do the same thing. Yeah. But I got asked about this and thought it would be a nice addition to the plugin. And
no, I'm not. Okay, so but the SQL command is only if you execute the SQL. If you're just doing this, you're not using SQL, right? Where you say insert, or you actually
under the hood it makes a SQL, but you don't need to write your own SQL statement.
It's writing the SQL for you.
Yeah, the problem is that SQL is not a native language in FileMaker, so there's a performance hit with that, right? I mean, this is one of those things that you would do for simplicity, and if you had lightweight needs, but if you were going to push like 100,000 records an hour through this thing or something like that, I don't know that you'd want to drop it in a SQL first. I mean, partly to be clear, so recently in FileMaker 24, the execute SQL or sequence script step, before it could only just do reading data essentially, and now it can do add, edit, deletes, and all the other stuff. But it still is not a native language of FileMaker. FileMaker is not fundamentally a SQL database. Therefore, FileMaker, anytime it has to do SQL, it has to translate it. It's like I'm not natively a Spanish speaker, Margaret, but I could take flying. Richard, turn right, but someone puts it in Spanish for me, so I have to translate it and then do it, right? So there's a little bit, it's not Christian Schmidt's fault, it's just the way FileMaker is. It has to translate into that it understands from SQL, right? So
if you have a need for this,
no, I think it's good. This is
enjoy it. Okay, let's.
That's one.
What else do we have?
Did you do anything else?
Yes. So we got the tidy library, so we can clean up XML and HTML. So if you got an XML and it's maybe a little bit damaged, you can repair it. Let me see. And do we have a sample? If we don't have, we should make one.
So back up. So tidy, TIDY, is it an open source library?
Yes, it's an open source
and
library.
so you built it into your plugin.
Yes.
Right. And it's not an
So
extra
let's say-
license like the Dyna PDF or something, right?
Yeah. So let's see. This is a tidy button. Yeah, I didn't put in a license key in my own plugin here. So this cleans up an XML. Let's say you have the XML not as nice. Let's say this is not in quotes. Tidy will fix that. Let's say, what could we have? Oh, we could here make, there could be a closing statement, closing thing missing. And no, this didn't fix it. It does fix something.
It's fixing all the dumb little issues that you
It
do
does
accidentally
fix
because
a
you don't
couple
type
of
it in
things,
correctly.
not all of them, but
Well, the
I
rub
thought
is
this-
it's using a certain amount of logic, like human kind of logic to do it. But the rub is that you could have XML sufficiently boogered up that it would be unfixable, right? So there's sometimes you have a mess so big that you can't tidy it up. It's just light it on fire. It's a total loss.
Yeah, and then there is an error log, which allows you to know what it fixed. So let's say I put here back in the 0, click tidy, and so there's a list of things you can do. So it says here attribute missing quotes, so it fixed that. And it discarded some unexpected plain text. Okay. So yeah. So it can do some cleanup, and it's also useful for cleaning up HTML. So we got a text tidy function, which can do both HTML and XML. So let's see. We have here a little HTML, and this HTML may be incorrect. Let's say here's a test. Formatting is wrong. So I see this. Let's say remove the body. It still adds a body. Let's remove this. It still adds it. So if you have some HTML to clean up, you can do that. While we have tidy to actually parse HTML, there was an idea that we could also have a function to parse the HTML and make a JSON format. So if you have some HTML code to parse and actually find something, you can convert it to JSON and then use whatever JSON functions you like our JSON query function, to find content in the HTML.
That's a good one. All right, that's good. I like tidy.
Tidy cleans it up. So let's see. The next thing is I worked on Dyna PDF for a customer, and they needed special things in PDFs. They needed transparency. There's a possibility to have something drawn on a page with some transparency, so you see through it, the thing behind. And also there are people printing who need overprint, which means that, well, normally if you have, let's say, a red rectangle and a blue rectangle on top, and you print that, you will only print blue ink where the blue rectangle is. But you can say, oh, I will like overprinting, so I print first the red color and then the blue color on top. With Dyna PDF, you can also do spot colors, which means you can have a printer who does not just CMYK, but it does have a fifth color for, let's say, glitter or gold. Like here you can have, you may have seen that if some company prints out something, they may have more than the normal colors, and maybe have something which looks like silver or gold. And the plugin can do that. So that's interesting because you want maybe the glitter over an existing color. Let's just show here the device and device and separation. So let's show an example of this. You can create a CMYK color space, and then you can add separation colors if you like. and you can have a process colorant and all the different things.
What are they doing? Are they running a print business with this of some type, or
Yeah, we have clients with print businesses. They use DynaPDF, for example, to for montage, which means you have a big sheet of paper and you print one sheet at a time, but you put, let's say, 16 pages of a book on one big sheet. So they need to place them. They have some lines to have the cutter cut the sheets correctly. And then you can, of course, prepare all kinds of PDF specialties with DynaPDF and well, run a printing shop if you like.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, no, that pre-press used to be a huge business, and of course these days, and printing is still important, but I deal with a lot of 25-year-olds, and they're like, oh, paper.
Yeah, well, it's not that much that you print something and mail it in a letter. It's more like you're printing things for special occasions on demand.
Like printing shirts, self-screening shirts, or doing clothing.
Yeah, and have every shirt, every paper you print customized. Like you may print invitation cards for a wedding, and every card is different. Not just different name, different coloring or whatever. With FileMaker, we are always in little businesses with niches, so you can make yourself special if you do things that other companies don't do. So, okay, so if you use MongoDB, we got two little improvements there. Like if you make a query on the MongoDB, you get back some records. You can get them all in one big JSON now, if you like to do that, instead of looping over the records. And the other thing is you can replace an entry in your database with a new one. Then you can pass options, which allows you to do special things. I think what we usually do is the absurd. Where is it? Yeah, here. Like you can, if you do MongoDB, you can pass options, and one of the ideas you can do there is to include a flag for absurd, so it does the insert or update automatically. We have functions for Excel. You can read and write Excel files with a plugin, and it may be good to remove printer settings or to remove VBA scripts. So if you remove the print settings, you can give away the file without carrying over whatever print settings you have. And also removing FBA scripts is helpful because FBA scripts either are important macros for your company to do calculations, or they are malware. So removing any scripts in a file you get maybe is a good idea because it would remove any malware. So let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, we got a new shortcut for you.
Oh, so I love shortcuts.
If you go to the edit layout,
okay.
Where is my field picker? Here on the left. So we frequently need to go here on objects into the search and find something on the layout.
Okay, yeah.
So it's Command Option Shift, and it jumps you right into the search field.
For the same object.
For the object. So if you're on the Fields tab, it will move to the Object tab. So I'm in Fields, so Command Option F. Shift. Command Shift F, yeah.
So Command Option F? No,
it's
is it F or K? What is it?
Is
it
Command
F?
Option Shift. Let's see next thing. You have let's say you have a bigger solution. We got functions here to pre-fill the auto-completion for variables with a predefined set of globals and now also locals. So if you want to have the auto-completion show up some variables always, you can give the plugin a list of those variable names, and they should show up. So, and let's say pi. Something is wrong with my font here. Okay, so evaluate. So I put into variables, and now I have a script here. And let's say we have variables that are set somehow. Let's say the global is set maybe somewhere else in the file, And so I want to have pi here showing up always because it's somewhere defined in the start script to be a number. Maybe for you, it's account name.
How did the product behave before and how is it different now? Because this is one of your best features ever, right? But now it's better, but I don't understand. So explain it one more time.
So we have autocompletion. The autocompletion in the plugin will scan the lines above the current line. We'll scan it. So we find here the $R. We find the $R. We also remember that if we saw them global somewhere else, let's take this script here, let's say variable, I define one which the $user ID, 1, 2, 3, set variable. So I use autocompletion.
Mm-hmm.
And you see
That's the older,
it sees the
that's the
user
older
ID
feature,
because,
right?
yeah.
What's the new feature?
So now I go to a different script. The plugin will remember the globals it saw before. So user ID will show up.
Okay.
But you don't start your day always by going to your start script to see all these variables.
Correct. So does it remember it on the session or how's that work?
The plugin remembers the variables it saw before on your workday, but if you quit FileMaker, this list is lost. So I had people when they pre-fill the list of variables
On a startup script or so. If you back up. If you open the startup script, Christian, if you open a startup script,
yeah,
or you open any script, forget startup script, does it scan, like if I have 500 lines of script code and I just open it, is that enough for your plugin to scan it?
No, what happens, Dad, is that so it picks up random variables as you run across scripts. This new function that Christian has, if you automatically put it in a startup script, it would identify global variables or local, well, not really local, but I think there was an option for global or local variables to automatically always show up, no matter if you've run to it in a script or not. So for BVA, we would put in a startup script, use this function to set global variable work order ID, since you and I use that constantly. And then it would autofill if we opened up a new script anywhere.
Yeah,
as
but
an option.
I wasn't sure in the conversation whether he said whether if you quit the session, like you quit FileMaker and reopen it, does it zeroes it out or does it remember it?
Well, it forgets it. So you need to call this again in your start script.
Oh, sent out autocomplete variables set globals. Okay, hang on. Let me just slow down and read this because it's going too fast. Set the initial list of known global. See, this requires to be a thoughtful programmer, developer person where I think about the advance, right, Margaret?
Well, we can go back and add it. Like I said, now we know that we use work order ID constantly. We can just slap that stuff in the startup script for running in BVA. So it'll
when you turn
automatically
this on,
know.
it's going to start remembering. It's going to so let me say this again. So when you run this command, MonkeyBread, as it sees variables, will keep a growing list until the session terminates. FileMaker's quit. FileMaker Pro's quit. Then that list is it's in RAM memory or wherever, it's transient, right? It goes away. So then we reopen FileMaker. We have to run this command again right here. We run this command and then it starts remembering everything again, right? Do I have that correct?
Yeah. This is the pre-filled list.
I have a really dumb question for you.
Yep.
And I'm sure the answer is very difficult and you've thought about this, but it would really be great if your, if FileMaker, but FileMaker won't do this, if MonkeyBread would, even if I had to tell it to scan the file, go scan the file, get a list going, remember the list. You know, if I have to come back in 30 seconds, I'd be willing to do that. So then it would scan all the scripts and all the stuff, and then it would be ready to go. I'm just talking.
It's a little bit difficult.
No, I'm sure it's difficult. You would have done it already because that's the obvious thing to do, right? I don't, you know, this show isn't about easy. It's about what's useful, right? So.
Yeah, but we need ideas for next year's version.
Okay, well, okay. So David Angel says that's cool. Scans the global variables that are in memory. So can we talk about this command again? So can you actually show an example? Go back and show an example of this. Can you do that one more time? Like how you're using that?
let's say start script here defines, let's say we have account ID,
Give me
user
like
ID,
okay, so that's a value, it's a
working.
return delimited list, and these will be global variables, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
these are globals. So what are working ID? And now you run this once.
It's on the way to being awesome, but it's not quite there. And to be very clear, I don't feel bad about telling Christian when something doesn't perfectly work, and I'm not telling him to work all night and fix it. I'm just saying, even okay. So in an ideal world, if you could have it bring up everything in your solution and help you manage them somehow or know about them, and then every once in a while things would get screwed up or corrupted, so you could like blow it out and have it rescan the file and come up with the list again. Because me remembering to go back to the beginning and define this, I mean, listen, I can barely get my engineers to comment their code properly, and having them do this is just like, ugh. So anyway.
Yeah, but it's a really nice reward in the sense that you won't have to constantly type the same variables over and over again.
I would say it's nice that the plugin learns over time your variables while you are working on the project.
Yeah. So you turn that on. Okay, back up. Will it learn them as you're going without that command or only with that command?
It does it already without the command. Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. Say that again.
So you see, I can hear $. It will see the user ID.
Okay. Yeah, because you ran that command, but what if?
Well, if you don't run the command, you have the behavior from last version, which also remembers the variables.
Yeah, but they're only from the script above the script that you're on and above, right? Correct?
No. If it sees a global variable in one script, it will remember it in the next script.
It will. Okay.
So over time, you build a bigger list of globals.
As you bounce between scripts.
Because for this to be super useful, I mean, I'm not saying Christian build this, but you'd have to have your MonkeyBread jump through every script and kind of look at the code and collect the list, right?
Well, as you work, in your workday, you start, you fix the first script, the second script. As soon as we pick up some variables, this list will quickly get filled.
Okay. Yeah, it gets filled, and then until you crash or restart your computer or whatever, FileMaker Pro terminates that process or application terminates and it restarts, or you do it on purpose, whatever. Okay. Any questions about this for anyone? This is because listen, I've had to do this BVA. I have one real FileMaker project that I personally work on. It's called Big Valley Aviation. You guys all know about this, guys and gals. And I have learned that MonkeyBread is awesome, but there are times when it shows me the variables, and there's times when it does it, and I'm not sure if it hasn't seen them or it forgot about them or whatever. So it's one of those features that when it's working, I take it, and when it's not, I assume that it hasn't seen it yet, kind of thing. Right? Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, God, I wish this was really super complete.
So we already have some kind of scanning. So I could check if I can add globals just by looking at them. We already have here a copy variables command in the context menu, which should give you a list of variables. Oh, yeah. Let's do here again.
That's one.
So yeah, it's my scripts here are tiny.
You need a bigger script.
So. If you get a bigger script, you can copy
back up.
more.
So you have a command right now. I mean, this is one of those shows where we have to, and maybe you guys have done this and I phoned in or I wasn't here, but all the manipulating and managing variables like to the next level, right, with MonkeyBread, because it gives us this capability. So you're saying that there's already a context that will grab all the variables off a script and give them to you in a return delimited list. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to write that, Margaret. That's important. That right there is a major deal.
Yeah. It's amazing that you don't know when you get an idea, you don't know what impact it has on the end. Maybe small or big to implement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do we have?
What else do we have?
We have a list of new functions. Let's go through. Oh yeah. If you work with PDFs that have a password, you can actually test if a password is for the current PDF. Could be useful if you like to try various passwords. And then we have a nice example. Where is it? We have, for Mac. Hey, for Mac, my keyboard. So we have script workspace context menu commands. This is what shows up here in the list.
Okay.
You may know that. I mean, we have things here like loops or find sequence. You can have various snippets in the context menu. And that's something new. So I select everything. I say summarize script. Yeah, and it will invoke ChatGPT to give an idea what the script may be doing.
Book. All right.
This
Process,
is cool.
warp drive, Delinium, Falcon, muffler bearings, inactive.
Yeah. So let's show you. It doesn't matter what it says here. I just want to show you. So the MBS plugin allows you to install expressions to be evaluated when you pick something in the menu there. So we got here a little database, example database with a few things. And one of the things it does here is it will use FileMaker to do a copy command of the current selected script lines. And it will ask the clipboard then for what FileMaker copied. So it gets the XML of your script lines. And then it invokes OpenAI and sends it the script lines and a command here. Please summarize what this FileMaker script does in less than 100 words.
Margaret, have you seen this before?
No.
This is an AI summary of what the script does. I somewhere, did you mention this to me before?
No,
Chris?
this
It's in the blog.
Yeah, I saw
the
this
blog post.
Okay, I saw this not too long ago, but I've never
Let's
seen it
see.
really work.
Yeah, there's a blog post about it, explaining it a little bit more detail.
that's very cool. There's some really long scripts that I would absolutely use that on because I look at them like, what happened here? Because there's comments, but sometimes the comments don't necessarily illuminate you.
So you're
So
integrating MonkeyBread into OpenAI. Are you just doing it just for this summary thing, or does it do other stuff?
Well, that's up to you because we are just giving you the toolbox to add context menu commands here. Like you can have whatever entry you want here, and you can code whatever prompt you like. So you could change the prompt
that
and
is the
say,
code that it runs against the Chat GPT.
yeah, this is the code executed if you pick the menu entry. And you can do whatever you like there. Well, the thing is, if you like to test it, you need to put in your organization ID and your authorization ID from ChatGPT, so you can use the API. Yeah, and so we have it right in the script workspace, so we could do more things. I mean, the thing is that you have snippets, and you can just insert something here. Let's say find sequence and just paste some things. So technically, we could also have an answer from ChatGPT and have it output XML to paste, but I'm not sure if it will always get the syntax right. And I don't like to paste something. I don't know whether it's correct. But the summarize feature is quite nice. And you can change the prompt. Like you could say, list variables, custom functions, whatever you like as a prompt. So that's something I want to show. What else do we have? Oh yeah, there's something I made this week because someone asked me about it. So people may ask, if you have fields, you can have a comment on the field. I don't know if you use that a lot. Maybe you do.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a feature that existed.
You can put comments on fields in FileMaker. Don't delete. So for tables, FileMaker doesn't have a comment here. But there's an area here where we have some space. So I thought the plugin could maybe show you a comment there. So let's make a comment here, table comment, a field named table comment. Can be whatever type you like. It can be global. Let's save some storage. And this field can have the comment for the table. This is a table for context menu commands. Change. Oh, summary. Sorry. Change. So I put in the comment, and now I go here on the other side, and I don't see it. Did I get an older plugin? No. Oh, no, I need to save and go back to the dialog. So, when the plugin queries a command, it can only query a command which has been there already. So here you see the command. Let me open another solution. On the desktop, I had the assets one. So here I have different commands for different rows. So I click a row of a table and it shows me a command. So I'm not sure how useful that one is, but it allows you to provide a command here right on the
I think
below the
that could
table
definitely
name.
be useful, especially with like bigger solutions where you abandon tables and you forget what they're there for.
It can be multi-line, yeah. And we thought about how could we store the commands. Someone suggested we could put them in records, but if you migrate from one database to another, the records are not included in the clone. So if you put it in the normal field command, this gets taken, this gets passed on with the migration process. And the people with Windows can see it. So I think this is the best solution to store the comment.
No, I think it's a really good way to do it. I don't know where else you would put it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, technically, if FileMaker would ever implement such a feature, they could just put it in the internal data structures, and we'll see. Yeah.
This is a good
Let-
workaround in the meantime.
Let me know what you're thinking about it. It's coming for the next version of the plugin.
Got it. Okay. So, no, I might go back and use that throughout BVA because we have a lot of floating tables that I don't even know what they're supposed to do anymore.
Yeah, I'll see how many comments I get about this field name. I don't know if underscore is a good prefix. This could be still changed. I don't know what people think would be the best name for this field, but
Yeah, that seems like
otherwise,
to signify it's something very specific. So I like
yeah.
it, but other people should chime in on that.
So now let's see the release notes. Somewhere are the release notes. Release notes there. So let's see, did we miss something? So we got a lot of smaller changes. Yeah, field statistics. Oh, that's new one. Okay. So if you like to know the size of a specific field in a database, you can now query with a plugin what this field contains.
Across
So,
all records or for specific records?
Yeah, this is for all records for one field. There's also one for one record, and there's one for the whole table. Let's say I have here a table. Pictures do I have? Yeah, I have some pictures. So, okay, let's put in a picture here. Must be from a recent trip. Let's put a few pictures in. So, and now I can try the functions, data viewer, and just say, let's say MBS FM, let's say table. Let's start with a table, current file name, and the table name is assets. So I get some information about this table. So it has five records from 1 to 5. So the row IDs. So it has 15 columns, well, fields. It has some text. It has 45 empty fields. It has no number field, no date, no times. Oh, it has 10 timestamps. It's 5 containers. The container have a total size of 8 megabytes. The total size of the text, the total text saved. The size of the content, that's the same basically in this case. And you see this contains file name, it contains sizes.
That's actually really nifty especially if you're like wondering if you have
So
somewhere.
now you may want to see just maybe one record, let's say the current record. In this case, we say here assets, primary key would be primary key is primary key, okay. Oops. And the value, well, is that of the primary key. So I see it for just one entry here. And then for the field, FM field statistics. So the field name, maybe, let's say, primary key. And I can see how big this field is in total, about 180 text characters over all records. Or for the image, so again, 8 megabytes for all the images. So can be handy, especially if you like to identify which table is very big. So people go and look through all the tables to see which one is the big one, and it doesn't count the indexes because there's no function from FileMaker to know how big an index is, but otherwise it should just be helpful. So what else did we change? After a lot of versions, we fixed the Linux version number. So if you ask FileMaker with get installed FM plugins, I actually found out how to put in my version number there, so you see which plugin version is installed. So let's see. Oh yeah, the tooltips. So you may know that we have tooltips. Let's first show them with the export function. So export something. You see here the fields, and the plugin will tell you what type of field is. So this has been updated to actually show container for the image field. So we better show you. Yeah.
Which is excellent.
Also here on the right side. Yeah. So we usually want to know whether we have a global field because we don't want to export the globals, or the calculation field. And also this is used if you have a field picker. So let's pick a field, and you like to know which field to pick. It will also show you here the type. This is a normal decimal field. This is a container field. And this should be a global field. No, it's a normal text field. Okay. So can be helpful.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
So fixed a few bugs. Improved a few little things, and I think that's all for this update.
Which has been awesome.
Yeah, please let me know if you need anything else. And I hope to see a few of you at the next conferences.
Yes, Christian's always bobs around to conferences, which makes perfect sense. So y'all should stop in and say hi. Thank you, by the way, for this, Christian series. There's a lot of really cool little features in this one, as always, in every version, honestly. But I always appreciate the new ones. Hope you all have a lovely day. Oh, no, he has the writing on. Are we good? There we go. Place current share. Or a lovely evening in Christian and our other Europeans' case.
Yeah, live from Vienna.
Yep. Have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.